Okay, calling to order the June 14th Long Hill Township Committee meeting at 7:31. If everyone would please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Debbie, if you could call the roll, please.
Committeeman Dorsey?
Here.
Committeeman Maringolo?
Here.
Committeeman Pasurcia?
Present.
Mayor Schuler?
Here. So tonight we have a couple of Eagle Scout proclamations. I've done a few of these so far this year. These three are a bit special. I've known these guys since they started off as Tiger Scouts in their mom's and my wife's den. So let me get started. Ben Hands, where are you? Come on up. Whereas the Boy Scouts of America is a volunteer organization and is one of the nation's largest and most prominent values-based youth development organizations, and whereas Benjamin Hands has achieved the prestigious rank of Eagle Scout due to his dedication and volunteerism in his community. Troop 56 of the Boy Scouts of America, Millington, New Jersey, has asked Long Hill Township to join them in recognizing his numerous achievements. And whereas Benjamin Hands has demonstrated the spirit of volunteerism through his Eagle Scout project of renovating and repairing a bird blind that is part of the Great Swamp Environmental Center in Basking Ridge, New Jersey. And whereas Benjamin Hands is graduating from Watchung Hills Regional High School and will be attending Seton Hall University. He will be participating in the honors program and majoring in psychology. Now therefore be it proclaimed by the mayor and the Township Committee of the Township of Long Hill in the County of Morris, State of New Jersey, and on behalf of the residents of Long Hill Township on June 14th, 2017, that Benjamin Hands be hereby recognized and congratulated on his achieved rank of Eagle Scout. Come on, Jake, you're up. Jake, you're up. Jake Raymer. Whereas the Boy Scouts of America is a volunteer organization and is one of the nation's largest and most prominent values-based youth development organizations, and whereas Jake Raymer has achieved the prestigious rank of Eagle Scout due to his dedication and volunteerism in his community. Troop 56 of the Boy Scouts of America, Millington, New Jersey, has asked Long Hill Township to join them in recognizing his numerous achievements. And whereas Jake Raymer has demonstrated the spirit of volunteerism through his Eagle Scout project of designing and building an outdoor classroom and garden for preschoolers in the Early Childhood Education Program at Temple Sinai in Summit, New Jersey. And whereas Jake Raymer is graduating from Morristown Beard High School, he will be attending American University in Washington, D.C. Now therefore be it proclaimed by the mayor and the Township Committee of the Township of Long Hill in the County of Morris, State of New Jersey, and on behalf of the residents of Long Hill Township on June 14th, 2017, that Jake Raymer be hereby recognized and congratulated on his achieved rank of Eagle Scout.
Mr. Mayor, can his family come up? And
Absolutely.
take a picture?
Of course they can.
just don't let it pay
Wait, no paper.
Get one at the end, all three.
Absolutely, you know, good point.
I think they did it in the hall. Bruce?
And Committeeman Marengo came up with a good suggestion at the end, all three together.
Well, I've said that before. Yes.
You didn't, Bruce.
All right. Last but not least, and this one I know a little bit longer than from when he was a Tiger Scout, so. Whereas the Boy Scouts of America is a volunteer organization and is one of the nation's largest and most prominent values-based youth development organizations. And whereas Ryan Schuler has achieved the prestigious rank of Eagle Scout due to his dedication and volunteerism in his community. Troop 56 of the Boy Scouts of America, Millington, New Jersey, has asked Long Hill Township to join them in recognizing his numerous achievements. And whereas Ryan Schuler has demonstrated the spirit of volunteerism throughout his Eagle Scout project of building 2 educational displays for the Raptor Trust Bird Sanctuary in Millington, New Jersey. And whereas Ryan Schuler is graduating from Watchung Hills Regional High School and will be attending Penn State University, studying security, risk analysis, and cybersecurity. Now therefore, be it proclaimed by the Mayor and the Township Committee of the Township of Long Hill in the County of Morris, State of New Jersey, and on behalf of the residents of Long Hill Township and a proud father, on June 14th, 2017, that Ryan Schuler be hereby recognized and congratulated on his achieved rank of Eagle Scout.
Good stuff, Scott. Yeah, I'm sure. Brian will bill you for it. Yep. These are the nice things that we do.
And a thank you to, you're welcome, and a thank you to all the adult leaders who volunteer their time to make the Boy Scout program what it is. So thank you. Next up, we have, is Greg here? Greg, I don't know Greg, so. Greg Rosati from the Little League, come on up.
Right here?
Sure.
Thanks, gentlemen. Thanks for having me tonight. So I just wanted to spend some time tonight answer any questions you might have about the Long Hill Little League. I know on April 26th there was a meeting, Matt. You had a lot of concerns that you raised, I think, from other people. So I wanted to make sure I gave you the opportunity to ask me any questions you might have and spend a bit of time clarifying. I apologize for not getting in here sooner. I would have liked to have come sooner. My schedule did not allow. So just if I can spend a few minutes. A couple of things I wanted to cover. I can answer questions if you like to start or cover a couple items that were brought up that night, whatever you like. All right, so I can start with the question around tournaments that we run, and this is We have a softball tournament that we've run. This will be our 14th year in a row we've run this tournament. And most recently, we've begun baseball tournaments, which are run in conjunction with USABL. And I think one of the questions was, do these tournaments benefit our program, or do they just make money somehow? So I want to make it very clear that when the softball tournaments first started, they raised very little money, $3,000, $4,000, and the money all went back into the organization, the Long Hill Baseball Softball Association, and never went back directly to the travel kids. As it evolved and it became a bigger event, we decided to allocate roughly $2,000 of the $7,000 or $8,000 we raised back to the travel kids specifically. And now we have a more specific formula that we put in place this year. Whatever funds we raise, net expenses, 33% goes back to the kids who play travel, so it only benefits them. 33% goes back into the rec program, so it benefits all children in our program, and this is roughly 33%. It's rounded off. 33% goes into a general expense fund that helps the facility and other expenses, which again benefits everyone. So I want to make it very clear: these are not for separate organizations. They're for Long Hill Baseball, Softball, and they help our program out. And one other clarification point on that: I know there's some question about Myersville Field being used by 2 teams in one case from another town. So the way the tournament runs, and we also run a fall league, Long Hill Softball hosts a fall league where you invite other towns. You'll have, in any particular division, you might have a number of teams, only 1 or 2 of which are Long Hill teams. So for example, if there are 6 teams in a bracket and 2 are Long Hill teams, the other teams get to play each other as well. So you might see 2 teams on Myersville or one of our complex fields playing each other. Again, it's part of the tournament, which raises money, which goes back, as I mentioned, into the program. Any questions about that? I'll pause there.
The only concern the rec director had about Myersville was, as long as you guys use it, they said they needed somebody from the Little League or the Baseball Little League Association at Myersville Field when it's happening.
That's
But
fair.
If that's addressed, that's between you and the rec director.
Absolutely agree. I can speak for the next tournament which is coming up, which is the softball tournament. We're going to put our 8U bracket on Myersville the entire weekend, and there's 2 8U teams, there's 8 and under, sorry, from Long Hill, and parents from those teams will be responsible for manning the facility the entire weekend. And by the way, if there's any additional questions, Jeff Wills, our Deputy Director of Baseball, is here tonight as well to answer any other questions that I might not be able to answer. Okay?
There was a question to make sure that there was insurance coverage for the tournament so that the township is held harmless should any participant in the program have an incident. And I think that's been cleared up.
I think so.
I just want to make sure that you guys have addressed that,
Yes.
right?
And that permits were issued, and I know that's been addressed. I think we have permits.
The special event permit?
The special event.
Only for the first 2 days.
Correct, which we're bringing up
There
on.
was some discrepancy between the rec field applications to Lisa and the special permit dates on my application. So I think Lisa sent out an email to get clarification of which dates we're going to actually issue the license for, so that the correct
Okay,
dates.
we'll help facilitate getting the right answers for that.
Yeah, we when this was on one of the meetings in May, I'm not sure which one it was, we had approved, if I remember correctly, just the first 2 special events because we weren't sure about the requirement for police coverage
On the others.
on the others. So that question has been answered and we're clear. So I think we're looking to get those remaining
Yes.
dates on the agenda for
Okay.
approval for the next meeting on the
Super.
28th.
Super.
So
That'll be
that
enough
should,
time.
I think you guys are covered till then. I think if memory serves.
Yeah,
The next one
23rd
is,
to 25th is the one in
Right.
June.
yeah.
Yeah, and I think the way this evolved, I think we're all learning. We never actually had to have a permit for the Twisters, this Long Hill softball tournament, until recently, because it was a pretty small tournament. Now it's gotten to the point where parking becomes
Right.
a problem. I know the
Right.
police have often come by. We tell them, we send out 3 emails ahead of time with a form that says do not park on the street. They park there anyway. So I think it's time. It's about time we have a special permit for this, special event permit. So thank you for helping us with that, because it's become very, very big and tough to manage. So we appreciate your help.
Well, that's good. It's good for our kids that they're in the program. Thank you for,
Yeah, it's
thank
great.
you
And,
for
you
your
know, and
time.
having a home tournament not only raises money for our program, but allows our kids to play at a tournament locally, which is really nice.
Yeah.
So the insurance was the other thing I was going to cover, and then I was also going to cover, Bruce, do you have a question before I move on?
I was just going to
2 other
comment
points.
that, you know, the property, just for the general public to understand, the property is township property, and the township leases it to the Little League Association, and the Little League Association is responsible for the management and care of it. But it is a very valuable asset in our community, and, you know, by running these leagues, it, financially it helps the Little League, but I think it helps the community in general because it brings people into the community who probably would never have come to Long Hill, and it exposes them to what we have here in our quality of life. I've spent many times down in the field, and people are very impressed with what we have and how we run or how you run the program, and are very appreciative. So I just wanted to say thank you to you and your staff for all the effort you guys put in making the Little League successful.
It's our pleasure. Thank you for
And
those
if I could
compliments.
follow up, and I had already written notes, but I think you said it very well. I want to be exceedingly clear on this point. This committee, and I think all parents in town, thank you, the volunteers that work with you, the board, and all coaches. A little plug for my family, because Cornell got to do a plug for his. My son was blessed to play in championship day 4 consecutive years. And
I was one of your son's first coaches.
What's that?
I was one of your son's first coaches.
There you
wasn't I?
go. Well, since you brought it up, that wasn't one of the years he played in the championship.
He was in kindergarten, so if they could have played, they would have.
So, I mean, and I think, and to Bruce's point, this committee, it embraces what you guys and gals accomplished down there.
Thank you.
And evidence of that, as you know, is some of the financial commitment.
Absolutely.
To the town, and whether it's the playground, the upgrades of the field, the parade. We love the idea. So I want to make sure this, to everybody who's watching, this is a symbiotic relationship. We love what you guys and ladies are doing down there, so thank you.
We appreciate that, and we feel that you do support us greatly, and we really appreciate all you do for us. And the field upgrades, you kicked in a lot of money for those. The fields look so much better than they did 5 years ago. The parade's been a great event, and the playground's been a nice addition too. So thank you for all of those things.
Thank you.
So,
What's your understanding of the vent hood issue? At least what's your position?
which issue? I'm sorry.
With the fire inspector. I'm curious to find out.
Actually, would you mind if I think
Please do.
clarify? If I could clarify, I had in fact did speak with the fire inspector, Craig Bellamy, about that. I know there was a question, and I spoke with him. What he explained to me is there had been an outstanding violation in a previous year by the previous fire inspector. He simply, like he does for all properties, not specific to the Little League, was going down the list. When he got there, noticed the violation had not been addressed as yet. It's not, major crime, but he noticed it, and I think issued a, what is it called, a violation?
Yes.
I mean, no more, no less. So I actually spoke with the fire inspector at length on this point. You didn't bring it up, but
No,
I think,
but I guess the point is we don't meet code on something. We need to meet code. We need to make the changes to meet code, and that's where we are. And I don't know exactly how it all transpired, and I don't really care because it's got to be fixed. So that's where we are now.
Therein lies the problem. There are rumors going around that I sent emails to the fire inspector reporting this violation, which I didn't even know existed. Clearly, it was over a year ago. And when the Tooth Fairy delivers these emails to you guys, can you please give them to me? Because they don't exist.
It's fine.
And just get the facts straight, not you, I'm saying in general, they don't exist because it never happened. And that's why I'm glad you cleared it up, because this happened over a year
right.
ago.
And to be fair, I don't want this to become part of this. That's just such a minor point of why you're here and what we're trying to convey to you.
I mean,
love what's happening.
we're struggling with what to do with it, quite honestly. Not this isn't your problem, but it's about a $10,000 spend to put the right fire suppression system in, and we're wondering, is that even the right use of money when you have a snack shack, which may not be ideal anyway? Maybe we want to do a bigger project and build a whole new building that can handle something even better, rather than spend $10,000 on a less ideal solution. Maybe get the right solution. So we're thinking this all through.
Lord knows nobody lets me, and DPW Director Tom Sweeney can attest to this, nobody lets me near anything like a stove, anywhere I can hurt me or hurt anybody else. But my understanding here is it's a friolator, whatever that is, that that's the violation, that it has to have proper ventilation.
Right.
So to your point, maybe it's not worth it.
Yeah, we're trying to figure that out because it is a big spend, but it's okay. I mean, we got to be safe. That's the most important thing. We have a lot of volunteers in there, and it's got to be controlled properly. So we get it. We get it. Two other minor points I just want to make. I know on April 15th, which was the first tournament that came into question, it was also the question of rec practices or rec teams not having a place to practice. So that's not true. When we first had our coaches meeting to kick off the season, we were still in preseason on April 15th. We explained there's a preseason practice schedule, and on Saturday, April 15th, the main fields would not be available, but school fields would be. So that cut our facility capacity about in half. So what we did is we actually combined teams to practice together, and being that it was spring break weekend and part of spring break, we felt that wasn't a problem. Some teams, I think, just didn't hear it. They didn't realize they wouldn't be able to practice that day in their sole spot, so they're a little bit upset. Hey, what happened? Why can't we be on the fields? Maybe we should have communicated it better and more consistently rather than just 3 weeks at a time and then remind them a couple of days before. And some teams did go out of town to have scrimmages, but that was their prerogative because they wanted to play on a nice field, and the school fields, I guess, weren't as nice for their scrimmages. But they ended up having scrimmages in Warren, and they were happy. And so I think it really was a non-issue that just got a little blown out of proportion. But no one was told they couldn't practice. We just condensed practices a bit that day.
And since you're here, if I could bring I was at a meeting this morning at a totally different organization, not related to the town, and then it came up in the Traffic Advisory Committee meeting today. And this is something I think we do need to do something about, and that's the parking at Myersville Field, where there's no delineation between what is the parking lot and a 40-mile-an-hour road. And this was brought to me by somebody who lives in another town. And I thought, I'm not a traffic expert, I was going to call the county and see, is it possible to make the last 1,000 yards of I guess it's New Vernon Road at that point, a 25-mile-an-hour road. I don't know if that's allowed. But at the
county road, so it's up to them.
So I'll call and ask them.
That'd be great.
But in the meantime, one thing is clear, is that it's not clear where the parking lot ends. This is where you park straight into the tennis court. And where the road begins.
Right, because people are walking right behind their cars there.
DPW Director Sweeney likes when I put him on the spot. Is it possible to put a reflective line or something to at least when the kids run out of their car or the parents, it's not clear. When I drove by there today and there's potholes and stuff, so you're walking around the pothole, and that's not your fault. Maybe we haven't allocated enough money. That needs to at least be helped. Maybe we put lines where you park diagonally, so there's a little more room between the rear end of people's cars and where the road begins. I mean, I throw that out there. I don't have an immediate solution, but this was brought to me by somebody who lives in another town, and I thought, you know what? That's a good point.
I think a related problem is people sometimes park in the Myersville Inn, which I guess is the Long Hill Tavern now, or the Myersville Cafe, and then they have to walk along the road. So I don't know if there's a way to put a path perhaps between the parking lot of the Long Hill Tavern and Myersville Field, or at least light the road better there, but these are other...
We'd have to ask Long Hill Tavern if they even like the fact that people are parking there. They've never objected.
For the tournament, we asked their permission. During random games, and not just Long Hill events, I'm sure other events too. I know there's other organizations that are in Myersville. I don't know if people park there. I'm guessing they probably do. I've seen people walk along that road when that place is crowded.
I'll check with the engineer to see if there's any DEP stuff that happens in there.
I think
Or maybe you don't bring it to the DEP.
I think it's pretty wet back there, because I remember talking to our rec director about bathroom facilities back there, and I don't think there's much we can do, but
Fair
they might allow a path, right? You put a wood chip path, that might be allowed.
Something else to think about. I didn't mean to give you another issue, but just while we brought it up.
I brought it up, so.
Yeah. So.
Not your fault.
And the last item I want to mention, and Matt, one of your comments was about kids being kicked out of Little League. I just want to make it very clear, we've never, in my 7 years on the board, told a child they couldn't play in our program. The only thing that happened this year is there was a coach who wanted to coach who wasn't asked to coach. And coaching in rec or travel is a privilege. It's by invitation by the head coach. And this coach was not asked to coach in rec, and he was very upset about that. He's since been asked to coach again, and he'll be coaching travel this summer. And if you want more details why, we can get into that. I think that's probably our business, and I think we handle it. We have the right to decide who coaches and who doesn't coach for various reasons. But just to be clear, no kids were ever told they couldn't coach. Couldn't play. Sorry, thank you. Okay. If there are any other questions, happy to answer them.
Thank you, Greg.
Okay.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thanks, gentlemen. Thanks for having us tonight.
Thank you, Greg, and thanks for all the time you put in.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thanks for all the support, too. Appreciate it.
Hey, well deserved.
Liaison reports.
I have nothing to report. I have Mr. Sweeney live. There's something to report.
Chris?
Redevelopment, there's nothing new. They're continuing to do their due diligence. You may see some people out there surveying and such. School ends next week. Please be careful driving around. Just you'll start to see kids on bikes and out and about much more. So please be careful. And the old schoolhouse is nearing the end of its construction work on the office part of the building. I think our acting administrator has got to do some walkthroughs and finalize some of the work over there so that they can close out that contract. That's it.
Guy?
If anybody has any questions in my function as acting whatever or performing the duties of, but rather than me go over a litany of things that we're working on. So if you have any questions, ask me. But to Bruce's point about the walkthrough on the old schoolhouse, there are two separate concerns. One, typically at the end of any job, we're going to do a walkthrough with a punch list, look at the work that has been done on the newer part of the old schoolhouse. The second thing, the Recreation Director, Lisa Scanlon, and I are arranging along with some people from HPAC, is to go back, meet with the architect, Mr. Hanrahan, and with his engineer, and we're going to discuss what has become a perplexing problem regarding the HVAC system. The air conditioner and the heater don't seem to like to play in the same sandbox, so we need to figure that out. That's it for that, but any questions on any specific issue, please bring it up.
Okay. Moving on to consent agenda. I have a modification to 17-168, accepting the resignation of Brown, or Lieutenant Brown, should be accepting retirement of Lieutenant Brown. So if we can change both those instances of the word resignation to retirement, please. Any questions or concerns or requirements to pull any of these for a separate discussion?
I just have to abstain on 17-172, the liquor license one.
I'll move 17-165 through 17-176 with the modification to 168 as stated by the mayor, as stated in the agenda.
Second.
Committeeman Dorsey?
With the abstention on 17-172, I approve the rest.
Committeeman Maringolo?
Yes.
Committeeman Passerchio?
Yes.
Mayor Schuler?
Yes. Okay. Bear with me 1 second. Discussion action items. Volunteer vehicle policy. Matt, I believe you were...
I asked Jack to take a look at this, or asked him if there was one, and I looked at it, and I just want to clarify, just to make sure this also, the way it's written, it's kind of, it could go either way. Does this apply to volunteers as well as paid employees of the township? That's my only concern, because it should apply to everybody.
I think it only applies to paid employees because it's in the personnel policies and procedures.
And there's not a separate one to have for volunteers?
Not that I saw, no.
Okay, so I don't know if we can amend this to include that it's based on it, but a thing in there also applies to volunteers as well.
Well, you may want to put it in the code book then, because really volunteers aren't going to look to the person, well, Dennis has a point.
Use the
Personnel
mic.
policies.
Use the mic.
sorry.
Sorry. Well, let me ask a dumb question. What volunteers drive vehicles?
Well, we have CERT has vehicles, both fire departments have vehicles. I don't know if,
Those are township vehicles?
yeah. And I believe, does the Explorers have a township vehicle or not? That I'm not sure of.
Well, but those vehicles, so I guess let's define some scope. Are we talking about the use of the vehicles in the performance of the volunteering, or are we talking about personal use?
More for personal use. I mean,
Yeah,
look, we have one-
that's what the personnel policies and procedures say.
That's basically.
Township employees who have township vehicles can't use them for personal use.
Yes, so if you
Okay.
basically adopt that to include volunteers. I don't think the rescue squad has any personal vehicles. For example, like Chief Mazzio has a chief's car he has, and that's part of his contract, and it's part of our policy that he's permitted to have it. But there are also volunteers who have access to I'm not talking about like the fire truck to take it home, but they have access to, or I think Ken Fulliger had like a CERT car he'd take home.
Right. You don't want a ladder truck in your driveway?
If it fit. If they want a new one, it's not gonna fit my driveway.
So
That's all I'm looking to do, is clarify it, to make sure it applies to everybody, not just township employees.
So Jack, you think you can modify some language to update that policy?
Or put it in
Well,
the
I put it in the
correct
code. I just put a, one sentence policy into the code about township vehicles.
Okay.
I'll have it for the next meeting.
That's fine.
Everyone, okay.
Thank you, Jack.
You're welcome.
This one, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, we're pulling for the traffic
Right.
committee to discuss.
Hold on one second, Mr. Mayor. It's being deliberated on by the Traffic Advisory Committee. I'd rather not opine on it
Okay.
right now.
Fine. Dog park grant. So, I was,
That's, I guess me.
I guess you, since Lisa's not here.
Right, so the engineer found a grant that was available for dog parks, I forget the exact name. We have to apply for it, I think, we have to approve it tonight, it's an application. But part of the application, and this is the sticky part, we have to kind of give them a location. The recreation director in the past has recommended the area in the back of Town Hall. The engineer has already said there's more than enough room, it's not wet, it can go there. And the other catch to it is, you can apply for up to $25,000, and you can get up to, there's no required local match. But you have to assure them that money is available to complete the project if they give you anything from 0 to 25.
So if they give you $1, we have to complete the rest.
It's kind of like that, that's the way we understand the
Do we have
application.
any idea how much a dog park would even cost? I'm not against it, I just don't know like how much it would cost.
Lisa said it
you
could
can go
cost
all
something
in and
like
get-
10, 15 grand. The main thing here is, there is money available for the dog license area. I mean, we've had repeated questions or requests, I guess if you want to call it that, about a dog park. We do know that the Vision Committee is working on something for across the street, but that could be 10 years from now. I think the demand for a dog park of some sort is valid. That it can go, in fact, Mr. Stanwood is here. We are talking about the dog park now. If you want it to come up, that's fine, but I'll continue as you're coming up. The idea is this, we know that there are, 900 licenses in town, but we also know from past data that a town of our size with this number of residents, it's probably closer to 2,000. So what we could do is require that any dog owner that uses the dog park to have a license. And I think many people don't get the license just because of the inconvenience of it, and I think it's $17. State ordinance allows to charge 21?
21, correct.
21, maybe we just raise it to 21. You raise an additional funding source, and it would pay for itself. So I fully support this as an idea. The recreation director has for several years now said that that's a location she believes works.
What are the alternate locations that we can consider?
You could consider, say, for example, Laura Drive, but the problem with Laura Drive is I don't think it's fair to make a decision to put it at Laura Drive without opening it up to people that live in that area. No one's going to object to it back here. Another benefit of it being back here is we already have parking. We have a lot of people that come here already. We have people who come to watch their children play, probably with their dog. They can bring their dog over here, whoever doesn't want to watch the game. It makes a lot of sense to me. So I would like to proceed and advise that we do so.
Now, if I understood correctly, you said, do we have to accept the grant if we get it?
I don't know the answer.
And I thought I had read the grant was due June 30th. which would give us to next
Yeah, but they
meeting.
have to work on doing the grant, so we can maybe vote on it at the next meeting, but Paul has to do something, at least has to complete.
It has to have a sketch, right? Yeah, I get
And
it.
we could just say we approve it with the understanding that if, do we have the option to decline it or not? I don't know. I don't think so. But,
I mean, in principle, I've always been in favor of a dog park, right? The problem has been where to put it, but I'm not sure that's a quick enough discussion to have. You're right, I agree. The back place is probably the most convenient, but I'm not sure I want to make a lazy decision.
this came up at the last
No, I
meeting
know.
because the grant.
Is it an annual grant, though?
I don't know. But my point about it is we've discussed this ad nauseum. This is not a lazy decision. We've talked
Well,
about
but-
this for years.
You're right.
So,
My concern is, like as Bruce said, if they give us $1, we gotta come up with
I know.
9,999 other ones. And the other, I mean, I like the idea, that's an ideal place, I agree. But the thing is, if we can't give it back, say we're not ready for it yet, that's my only concern, is let's say they give us 5, it's gonna cost us 25, we're gonna come up with 20 grand, I don't know how long it's gonna take to do that. That's my biggest concern.
Mine is that, you mentioned Laura Drive, that's a big open field. I would think that would be easier to implement the dog park over there than over here, with exception to the parking. But, I've been to dog parks that don't generate that much parking, that you need, a large lot or anything. I mean, a couple cars at a time, maybe on the street, But that's certainly something I think that, we should hash out. But I think Laura Drive would be an ideal spot. But
look, I can go back and find out for sure if we have any options if we do make the application. Also, even though you have to designate a location, could it be where it's applied and then we change our mind, this doesn't work, we'll put it over here? What difference does it make to them as to where the location of the park is? So we have until the next meeting, but it's coming back, and I know there's a gentleman here who would like to speak on.
So does the, you know if the work that Paul is doing, is it, if he designs it for back there and we decide not back there, is it, pick it up and drop it over here?
No, I'm sure
or
it's
is
not
it
that simple. I'm sure it's not that simple. But it's not a real true design. It's almost the back of the envelope. The key is the verbiage, and Recreation Director Scanlon said she would do that part.
My other question that you might wanna find out is there a minimum requirement size for this grant? Like, say, for example, we wanna put 800 to 1,000 square foot dog park, and the county says, no, it has to be 10,000 square feet.
Paul said it meets the requirements of the.
No, not the space, I'm saying for cost-wise, because obviously, the more fencing you need and the more, that's my only concern, it's just, as long as I have more information on it, I'm okay with voting for it. But tonight, I don't wanna be rushed into it.
Fair enough.
I would offer that we open it up.
Sure. Let's open it up if anybody's got any comments regarding dog park grant.
So, thank you, Guy, I appreciate it. My name is Bruce Stamwood, I'm a resident of town for 30 years. I came here a year ago, and that was following, something I read in the Echo where another group had came to talk about a dog park. So I followed up, thinking maybe it was gonna be discussed, and it wasn't, so I came here and presented an idea of a dog park. And I'm very passionate about it. I took the liberty to go to the Basking Ridge course and took photographs of them, and I can show you the quality, the fence, and what they have versus what they have in Echo Lake Park. And, I personally think you can put something up on a temporary basis until you design and incorporate a larger facility with more amenities in Central Park across the street. I don't believe it's gonna cost a lot of money. If you look at what they did in Basking Ridge behind Memorial Park, it looks like chicken wire to me. And it looks like it could be easily moved. And, versus the one in Echo Lake Park, which is high-quality rubberized fencing, there's water, there's a concrete platform, there's shelter, there's benches, it's a county facility. It's very nice. There are 2 separate facilities, one for small dogs, one for big dogs. It's a very nice. I'm not asking for that very nice. I'm looking just for an area where you can unleash a dog and let the dog run and exercise. and I don't think it's gonna cost a lot of money to construct. I personally think from a acceptability standpoint, it's probably a much easier sell if it's back here behind this building, because this is a central location where people come. There is parking. I don't know how the people are gonna feel on Laura Drive for people to park their car and let a dog jump out, and, you know, they're gonna be worried about who's picking up after the dog right outside their curb, and so on and so on. I just think it's easier for it to be in a facility that is open to the public, where it's multiple uses. The one in Memorial Park is, there's several baseball fields there, and you can see parents, some husband watching the game and the wife having the dog in the open area. So I think from that standpoint, you get more usage of it back here. In terms of the cost, I would pay more money. And if you can tell me I only can pay $21 for a license, I will pay more money for a magnetic card that is the key to open up the gate. And if you want to limit it to just residents of this town, you could easily do that by having selling a magnetic card, and you buy the card, and if they don't pay for their dog license, the card gets disconnected and you can't use it anymore. So, I mean, there are a lot of ways to generate revenues. You know, I'm sure there are veterinarians, I'm sure there's PetSmart and a whole bunch of others that wouldn't mind having a little signage, you know, just like they do at the baseball field. So there's a lot of ways to subsidize the cost of a dog park. And, you know, I think it's a place that people gather and socialize. You know, it's a good thing for the township. And so I have pictures of both facilities, and you can compare and look at the quality of fence, and I think it could easily be put up for not a lot of money.
Thank you, and I know you were here a year ago, but there were people here before that, even
And
before.
I joke about it because my dog is now 7 years older.
Sir, before you go, could you please spell your name for the record for me?
Stanwood. It's Bruce. It's 80 Cottage Place, Gillette.
Thank you very much.
So so this grant is actually from a brand, PetSafe.
Right, it has to be named after them.
And one thing that hasn't been mentioned that you should know is if you do win, they do require brand logos and material stuff to be placed on.
Well, that's if they give you any money.
Yes, understood. But, any other comments on
Brooklyn in the house.
dog?
Hi, how you doing? Dorsey, right?
Yes.
How are you? I said this
You
the
could,
last time. The
give your
woman
name for
came
the
up.
record, please.
Oh, my name is Joe Ferrandino. I live on Chestnut Street.
Can you spell Ferrandino for me, please?
Ferrandino.
Thank you.
Is it really, truly going to the dogs? Is this what this town, with the road over here that's destroyed, you can't run it down that road without your fillings falling out? All of the stuff that's going on, the sewer treatment plant, this housing on the toxic waste dump, this is what this committee has time to discuss. I got nothing against dogs. I told you before, my concern is you take the government grant, what are the strings that go with it? I think that there should be fully thought out before you take their money, because then after you take the money, it's too late. There is no renegotiating the deal. The other thing is, how much money? I know I got an estimate to put an electronic fence around my property for $1,000. How many people got dogs in this town?
At least 1,000?
1,000 dogs?
At least registered.
The other issue I brought up was someone brings an aggressive dog to this dog park. Who's responsible? Township needs more liability? Did anybody think about that? You're the attorney, sir, are you not?
I am
Okay.
indeed.
So my pit bull goes
Who's
there.
gonna deny it?
Dog attacks it.
I knew he'd rat me out.
Come on. I lived at a dog kennel for a while, okay? And dogs, like human beings, sometimes have a bad day, okay? So people tell you, oh, he's not aggressive. Yeah, maybe this day he felt aggressive. And when that dog attacks another dog, who's picking up the tab? Why are we even opening ourselves up to all of this liability? For a dog park, we live in a place where you gotta build on 1 acre lots. You mean to tell me your dog can't run in your yard? That's all I have to say about this. Have a good evening and thank you.
Thanks, Joe.
Charles Arenowitz, that's Arentowic. I don't always look like this, but I've been maintaining township property tonight at no cost to you, and DPW Director Sweeney can account for that. I know some of you want to take a piece of me. Unfortunately, that's not an option. Now let's talk about doggy parks. For the last 2 or 3 months, I have helped maintain Cantor Park. The number of dogs that are out there that don't get picked up, you've got the numbers. They don't do it here. Why would they do it in a doggy park? I and the Long Hill taxpayers cannot afford Mr. Sweeney's staff to go pick up after dogs. I think you need to do a lot more homework on this grant. Just because it's a grant, you don't need to take it, because we can't afford it. As the gentleman prior to my discussion said, we live in anywhere from a half acre to acre lots. If you can't run your dog in the backyard, there's a problem. And I'll tell you another thing. I am babysitting a dog tonight for the next week for my daughter. It's a Shih Tzu, and guess what, Mr. Pichera? Has one eye now. It has one eye because it got attacked on the streets of New York City. If this committee wants to take on the liability for a dog park and its attack, I can't afford it. You have to draw a line in the sand. We're not in the middle of New York City where we need a dog park. So forget about investigating this grant. Just drop it. We can't maintain Cantor Park. You know the numbers on the pounds that have been picked up. I do not need to reiterate that. Do you have any questions for me this evening? Thank you all for your time, and just take a walk at Cantor Park. And Mr. Sweeney can attest what I'm saying tonight, and so can Lisa Scanlon. We do not need a dog park. Thank you for all your time, consideration, and opinions. Like I said, I apologize for my looks this evening because I'm maintaining free of charge township property. Thank you.
Thank you, Chuck. Seeing no other comments? Gentlemen? Any comments, action?
No.
Are we doing anything with this or not?
Till we get more information, I don't feel
Okay.
comfortable doing anything.
Yeah, I would concur.
Okay,
It's fine. I'll speak with the rec director and the engineer.
okay, moving on.
Oh, actually, can you ask, while you're checking, check with Andrea, the risk manager, what kind of insurance cost this might increase our premiums by?
It'd be covered by the JIF, but it's a legitimate question whether it would increase our premiums.
Yeah.
So
Oh, the ship
so
would cover it.
we know the answer to that? There would be no increase or?
No, I don't know.
Okay,
I think
okay.
asking is a good
Okay,
point.
very good, thank you. Old business?
Yeah, Cap. I did that
Yep.
resolution,
Yep.
so we're not doing it.
Yep.
Okay.
That's my
That- that was
It's
it.
deferred. Yep.
Good thing
Okay.
I did that
Any old
resolution,
business?
So we have it.
New business? Announcements. Let me pull that out. Skin cancer screenings, Monday, July 10th, 3 to 7 p.m., and Tuesday, July 18th, from 2 to 6 p.m. At the Fellowship Village Wellness Center at 8000 Fellowship Road in Basking Ridge, New Jersey. Appointment required. Registration begins June 1st. Phone number is 908-204-2520. Debbie, do we have this on the website?
Yes,
And
sir.
this information is actually on the website.
On the television, too.
Yes.
And it's on the television. Thank you. Regrettably, the organizers have elected to cancel the Freedom Tour Bike race this year due to concerns about the roads and being done in time. So unfortunately, we will not have a bike race this year. Parrot Beach is coming up June 24th, 6:30 to 8:30 at Sterling Lake. And I have a couple other announcements. Let me just dig them up. Sorry, my iPad is slow. Come on. Okay, there we go. Greenbank National, let's see what else, Parrot Beach. School closed. Oh, Long Hill Recreation Summer Camp, opening day is Monday, June 26th. First day for all registered campers, pre-K and K through 8. And that is it for what's coming up.
Mr. Mayor, Sterling Lake badges are still available.
Sterling Lake badges are still available, yes. Thank you. And new for 17 are daily passes available for the residents. So even if you do not have the summertime lake membership, if you're a resident, you will be able to go there and pay for the day. So please show up. The Whibbit is open. Kids have a lot of fun on it. And opening the meeting to the public for comments on any matter.
I'm still Joe Ferrandino from Chestnut Street. What's the word? I'm sorry, I haven't been paying attention, but what's going on with the water treatment facility? They're taking bids for that?
In fact, we did receive our bids this morning. This committee is going to deliberate on them, and then when we have enough information, we will present that to the public.
All right, so there's nothing been decided on?
No.
No. They're actually, currently, the bids are being reviewed for completeness and ensuring everything was, all the rules were adhered to, and
I hope
responsible
somewhere there's
bidders.
going to be like a price increase, price adjustment, because right now, if I got a problem with how much I'm paying, like I got a broken pipe, and supposedly I'm going to get a rebate on my sewer because the water just leaked all over my deck. Once I can't come to my elected officials to discuss about my water bill, and once it's a private-owned company, my elected officials really don't have any
Let's
sway
be
over
clear,
that.
the water system in Long Hill Township is already owned by NJ American Water.
Okay, so we don't control that at all?
No. However, to your point, sometimes there are concerns about maybe the bill was inaccurate. And I spoke with the head of government affairs today for NJ American Water. And he said if that comes up and if it is a valid concern, he will look into it. So my point to you is, if you think your bill is wrong, you can contact me, I guess.
But if they
For
own the water, New Jersey, they send the water to your home.
Correct.
They don't own the water treatment facility, though.
That's correct.
Correct.
Who owns that?
Currently, we do.
We do.
We
That's
do.
wastewater. I just want to
Wastewater. And why would we want to give that up? It's in such bad shape that the township
So,
Can't get a grant for a dog park, but we can't get a grant to fix our water treatment facility per center?
I would love to get a $20 million grant.
28
It's gonna
million.
cost $20 million.
24. Or
$24 million
Whatever, yeah.
to,
Over the next 20 years.
over the next 20 years. So you're talking about what, $1 million and change a year?
Correct. And that's on top of the 1.5 million, that's the current cost to run the plant. That, we
So my
need,
sewer bill,
would,
where's that money go?
for the operation of the plant.
Okay, and all of the people in town pay that same money, right?
I pay it too.
Depending on usage.
And we still can't generate enough to
We,
run
we,
the plant?
we do. We generate, well, we currently do. We calculate out what our expenses are for the sewer plant, and that's what we collectively generate from all the sewer bills together. So if we spend 1.45 million to run the plant, which is roughly what it currently costs, we make sure we generate 1.45 million in revenue, okay? To try and keep it we run it like a utility to keep it almost at zero. What we're saying is, based upon the assessment that we had a company come in and give us a capital assessment, and what they reported to us, they calculated depreciation of equipment, they looked at life of expectations of equipment, et cetera. In addition to the 1.45 million we spend today, we need to put another 1.4 million on top of it if we want to keep the system running properly.
My confusion comes in the sense that if the facility was not an asset or had value, then who would want to buy it? In other words, if somebody's going to buy that facility and put that $20 million into it, why would they spend that money if it couldn't be an asset? And if it is an asset, why wouldn't the township want to take care of it and keep it?
And the reality is which is cheaper, us doing it or them doing it? And that's really the only question.
Well,
So
reality-
from our perspective, from my perspective, I'm looking at what we spend plus what we're going to have to spend to invest in it, and I'm saying, okay, is this much money? Or if we sell it and we get money from a buyer and the rates that they charge is this much money, which one's cheaper? That's really all I'm looking at.
Okay, long run, short run. In other words,
We're looking at it over 20 years, not short run.
oh, okay,
Yeah.
I'm saying, because they're gonna make money, obviously, they're
Yes.
gonna buy it.
Yes,
So
but
we would've made money too, and we would've had control of our own facility.
We're not
We're
trying
not-
to make
we're not
money. We're
making
trying to
money.
break even.
we break even. We don't make money. We break even on our sewer plant.
Okay, so you break even, you're happy with that. As a businessman, I'm not in business to break even, I wanna make profit. So
Yes.
now, here's my point.
But I'm a taxpayer. I don't want you to make money on me.
But that's the whole idea of once you privatize it, the person who's buying it, that's their thing. They gotta make money, otherwise they wouldn't buy it.
That's true.
So-
but the question is, which is cheaper, buying it or keeping it?
So we don't
Or
have all
selling
the,
it or keeping it? Which is cheaper?
so we don't have all the answers to those questions. So the bid documents, we don't know the details of the numbers yet. They're going to submit a rate structure as part of their bid. We've done a preparation work on what our rates would look like over the next 20 years if we keep the plant. And it's really going to be a comparison between the two, to Committee Marengolo's point. And the important thing to understand is this group up here is not deciding whether to buy it or sell it. You are.
Oh, it is gonna be
It
like
is
a
going,
referendum?
it is going to be a referendum vote,
Then
right? Our job is to make sure the public has all the information they need to make an informed decision, and then it's your choice.
Thank you.
We have our own beliefs right now. That may change depending upon what the bid numbers are, but we'll see. We may not even accept the bid. If we don't feel that the bid is a good enough deal, it might not be accepted. If we don't like the terms and conditions, and then there won't even be a referendum.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Good question, Joe.
And incidentally, we will be having public hearings
June 28th.
June 28th, we will be talking about the bids that we received at the Township Committee meeting, and we will have an additional public meeting in July to speak about it, and we're scheduling, if there is an ordinance adoption, for August 16th. Sorry, Chuck, just trying to give everybody the timeline.
Charles Aronowitz, Millington. I too have not changed from 10 minutes ago. First, I got a series of questions. First question is, could you update the viewers tonight on where we stand with the property swap with Central Park and the environmental study and where that stands?
You probably have the most information
The
on this.
environmental study on the proposed private property that would be swapped for the public property will take place tomorrow morning.
What are the results of that study?
We don't, it's taking place tomorrow morning.
What time is that?
I don't know, but it is a, I have
It's
no idea.
public, right?
I don't. Jack is.
It's in a public place, you know, it's a private
It's going to
contract.
be here, or where is it going to be?
No, it's
No,
going
they're
to
gonna
be,
be on
it is
site.
going to be on the private properties, private property owner's property.
Right.
So
We don't
there-
know the time, so I couldn't go.
You couldn't go without getting the property owner's permission.
Okay. Can you share any results with the taxpayers
We
of
will,
Long Hill?
we will
public.
absolutely will share the
Yeah, it'll
results
all be
when we
public.
get them,
good.
yeah, yes.
Yep.
Yes,
Okay.
those results are absolutely public.
Second topic. Where do we stand? An update on affordable housing, what it's cost, where we are. All these towns, we got a suit between Watchung and Berkeley Heights. Where do we stand?
We're still in discussions with the Fair Share Housing Center. In fact, Jessica Caldwell and I are meeting with them again next week. In the near future, we hope to have something to discuss in public.
Here?
Yes.
And where will I find that on the website?
Well, it'll be on an agenda. So yeah, it will be publicized when we've reached that point.
Okay, let's talk about the prior topic with the representative that was just here on the sewer plant. New Jersey American Water is one of the bidders. They have done a horrible job on Valley Road. If you disagree with that, please let me know. Do any of you disagree with that?
I don't. No.
Good.
Hold on a second.
Oh,
Hold on a second. I do disagree.
Go
I think-
ahead.
I think they are doing an incredible job under the circumstances. The problem that is out there now is that the road itself is in need of repair. It has nothing to do with what NJ American Water is doing. The road itself needs repair. The county is aware of it. They are coming in, they are sending in inspectors. Every few days, Montana's going, the road keeps settling, which is what it's supposed to do. And then they come in and they fill it in again. So you're 100% right. The road is an issue. We know it. But what is being done is necessary. There's a $2.5 million project that NJ American Water is doing. Montana Construction is one of the most respected construction companies in the state. The county and I, people from the county and I talk all the time. They're well aware of what's going on out there. And after all, it is a county road. We can only do so much up here.
unfortunately, I have ridden that road with New Jersey American Water, have visited the site with Martell from the county.
I don't know this person.
Well, he was here 2 weeks ago Friday. I walked the block from Passaic to Maine, okay, with him.
Okay, I'm just trying to think of where, okay, I know what you're talking about.
Okay, okay. There's speed bumps. There's 8 of them. If you think, I worked paving in college as a student, did a lot of paving, installed the water pipe, installed water lines. If you have joined on with the county and said it's the road conditions, God bless you. It was a horrible job by the contractor, a horrible job by New Jersey American Water, and Martell and the two inspectors looked at each other and won't take any responsibility. It's a great position.
I just want to understand.
It sounds like politics.
No, I'm asking where the inspectors you spoke with, they are representatives of the county.
Yes, correct. And New Jersey American Water. I said to him, I said, you had inspectors there. Oh, they didn't do a good job. I said, did you fire them? Oh, we can't fire them. We can reprimand them. If I'm an inspector on a water main and the road is bumpy and they get trained and reprimanded, New Jersey American Water did a very poor job in managing Montana construction. Very, very poor. So what I'm recommending to the committee, when you open the bids tomorrow or today, whenever, do not allow New Jersey American Water to bid on managing the sewer plant. They can't manage the contractor, irrespective of the condition of the road. It's horrible. And when I called the president's office and the person that came out, he said, he came to my house twice. He said, I apologize to you for the condition of the road. At that point, I couldn't say anything else. I just said, who's accountable? And then a week later, I said, who'd you fire? And they said, no one. Please do not allow them to bid on managing our sewer plant. They can't do it based on this road. I told the president of New Jersey American Water, I said, I could have kidney disease riding down this road. They painted it, New Jersey American Water painted it twice, the county painted it twice, and some supervisor, Doles.
From the county or from the?
From the county, it's a woman. She designated certain areas that get fixed, and I drove it after they fixed it. You couldn't prove it by me they fixed anything.
Look, I agree with you. It's a challenge
Right.
out there. I agree with you, it's a challenge. I'm not saying I agree with the characterization as to why it's a challenge. This is a total $4 million project that's going on out there. They're doing the best they can. Road settled. The problem with Valley Road is that Valley Road was already deteriorating. It's not because NJ American Water came in. So, I mean, I agree with you. It's going to be a challenge for a little bit, but we're going to have to be patient. I think they're doing the best they can under the circumstances.
I disagree with that.
I know
and
you
my
do.
patience, along with a lot of other taxpayers, has run out. Run out. I come here and I think I'm talking to the wall. And I don't like that. Because I've taken the responsibility, talked to the county, walked the road, had two supervisors come to my house and told them it's unacceptable. And they told me it was horrible. Horrible. That's his quote. The condition of Valley Road is horrible based on our contractor. Horrible.
You've made your point. We get it.
Well, what are you going to do about it, Bruce?
He just told you. He speaks to them every day.
Well, we're
and
going to
he's
wait
trying to
3
adjust the
months till they pave it because the road's falling apart.
So do you think coming here and yelling at us is going to make it
No, it's not
better?
yelling. I want action.
Is that what you think?
This condition of this road is horrible, Bruce.
It's not going to. Your yelling is not going to help us one
Well,
bit.
Bruce, I'm going to Steve
Legitimate
call the county,
conversation,
and I'm going to
guys,
call New
could
Jersey
help.
American
But
Water,
you're
and
not
I'll do
helping.
whatever it takes,
You're
and I won't be elected.
But you're not helping us.
Yes, I am.
No,
Gentlemen.
you're not.
Yes, I
Yelling
am.
at us doesn't do a thing.
I'm using
Right.
the
Bruce,
gavel, guys.
You have
Come on.
done
Might be
nothing
helpful.
with this. I've called New Jersey American Water. I've gone with the inspectors, both
Chuck.
from New Jersey American Water
Chuck.
and from the county. Bruce,
Chuck.
you've done nothing.
Mr. Mayor, I
Chuck.
think it's time
You've
that
done nothing,
we
Bruce.
move on.
Chuck, please.
I think it's time we
Bruce
move
has
on.
done nothing.
You don't see the conversations that we have with the county.
You don't see my conversations.
I do, Chuck. You email me them. I see them.
Have you shared them with these other representatives?
I am very well aware.
So what action are we going to take tonight? Bruce, keep smiling because you've done nothing. I've done triple what you've done.
Chuck, please.
I am disgusted. My patience has run out.
This type of venting you should take to the county.
I've done that.
But they own the road. We can't.
So you have no responsibility. Great. I'll call the county.
Chuck,
Your
that's
job
not-
is done.
That's not what anyone has said. But
What have you said then?
Like you, we are beating our heads against the wall with the county.
Who has done it? Bruce? I've met more people than Bruce has. Keep smiling, Bruce, because I wouldn't vote for you to save my soul. Keep smiling, Bruce.
It's your prerogative.
You've done nothing.
Guys, please,
He's done nothing, Mayor.
please,
And this next guy wants to fight me.
gentlemen.
Matt, what about you?
What about me? I'm not gonna fight you.
Good.
We will continue to press the county to keep.
But it's a
pressing
county
New
road, so what do
Jersey
you want me to do?
to me. Please continue speaking to county. And if you, when you have people that come to you complaining and the people that you're talking about, please tell them to go complain to the county. The more people that complain besides us and besides yourself, the better. That's what the forum is for. The forum is there so that they can hear the complaints. If we can't do anything other than individually go talk to the freeholders and say, dude, this road is a mess, you gotta help us fix it. And we get nodded, and maybe to some degree we might get some lip service, but if they get 500 people calling them up complaining about the road, maybe they'll listen a little bit more and actually believe that the road is in horrible shape. I agree with you, the road is not great, okay? The good news for this, if there is any good news, is that sometime around August, hopefully, depending upon how quickly the road settles, the road is going to be repaved end to end.
I fully understand that.
In its entirety.
So I want to, you guys can stop what you're doing. I'll take it over.
We're not
I'll get the people talking to
not
the county,
stopping.
and you can all go home.
We're not stopping, Chuck. No one ever said
He
we were
never
stopping.
started. Bruce never started.
Yeah, I don't do anything. And
You're right.
I don't do anything.
Thank you for admitting that.
We will continue to all press the people that we can press.
I will continue pressing.
And that's fine.
I can assure you and the Long Hill taxpayers, listen, I will continue to press.
Please take your meds.
Thank you.
before do it.
And no, don't get wise, Bruce,
Guys,
because you've done nothing to help this.
Nothing.
okay,
Nothing.
Exactly.
all right. Thank
Bruce,
you.
thank you for your time, whatever you've done.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chuck.
I am not pleased with Valley Road, just so you know that.
Thank you.
Keep smirking, Bruce.
I'm just amazed.
You're amazed at because you've
Okay,
done
guys.
nothing.
Enough. I don't want to use the gavel again. I've never had to use the gavel before. Tom?
Just want to make just a couple comments on Valley Road with the conditions. One thing you guys, you probably realize this, but that job started the second week of January when they dug up the water line patching, which is not the ideal conditions for patchwork. It's cold. They're using stabilized base, which is a harder blacktop. It's bigger stones. It's not going to be a smooth blacktop like you would see if they were filling in the summertime. I disagree with Mr. Aranowitz with his comments on that. It was a horrible job. When you're paving in them cold conditions, that's what you're going to get. It's going to settle. They're on top of it. They're patching it, but this job was done in the wintertime, so they can get it ready to pave in the summer, which will be ideal conditions to pave for the county. So, yeah, it is bad, but, this is a huge job on a huge road. It's going to come out good. We're going to have to live with it. I drive one of the roughest riding vehicles in this township, the township vehicles, and no one's feeling the pain more than me. I don't have a Beamer. I don't have a Mercedes or whatever. We're feeling it too. It's a rough ride, but at the end, it's going to get paved. But all that patchwork was done in cold conditions, and that's why it's rough. It's not on Montana or New Jersey American water. It's just the nature of the game. So,
Thank you, Tom.
okay.
Thank you, Tom.
I'd just like to make one public service announcement. Tomorrow night at Bergen County Community College, there will be a forum on the fair share housing. Starts at 5:30 on 400 Paramus Road in Paramus. Holly Shapisi will be there. She's one of the advocates against all of this government-mandated high-density housing.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I didn't think I was going to get a chance to talk again, and I truly appreciate the opinions of my fellow residents, but I want to make a couple of clarifications. The signage in Union County clearly states, use at your own risk. Dog owners are responsible and liable for the actions and behaviors of their dog. Number 8, owners must pick up and remove dog feces. Poop bags are provided. If your dog becomes aggressive, you must leash the dog and remove the dog. This is Union County. Bernard's Township, which I'm sure both entities did their due diligence in terms of the amount of liability for having a dog park. And I think this township has equally amount of liability with the dogs that are at baseball games and soccer games and lacrosse games. The signage in Baskin Ridge or Bernardsville clearly states, Bernard's Township Dog Run Rules and Regulations. Dog Run is open to only Bernard's Township residents and their properly licensed dogs. Goes on to say, if your dog is known to be aggressive, do not enter the park. Also goes on and says the pooper scooper law will be fully enforced. I have a better chance of stepping in poop on Cottage Place, walking between Tanglewood and Mountain Avenue than I do walking in these parks. And I got photographs, and I can't see any poop anywhere.
I will tell you that there is a lot of stuff
Yeah, I mean,
coming out of this park.
the
It is
comment made.
unbelievable.
The comment made, while I tend to get into heated discussions with him, he does have a point, is that over here in the park, we do have problems with people who do not pick up after their dogs.
Yep.
You're going to have that problem anyway.
Yes.
I will take you on Saturday in the car, and we can go drive and walk. You don't need any special shoes. You can walk both of these parks, and I don't see any poop whatsoever there. I see people, owners, dog owners, running from one side to the other side to go find the poop and pick it up.
Wait, on the liability question, we're probably not going to be liable, but I think
right.
Matt's point about checking to see whether it's going to affect our insurance premiums is a valid one. But, because we could still get sued even though our chances of being liable are remote. That was, I think, the only point.
In New Jersey, a dog's considered property, so it's a property damage claim if the dog bites another dog. It's not, but if a dog bites a person, it's a whole different story. And you make some money on that.
And as a resident, I also clean up lots and so on. I took a plastic bag and cleaned up all of the stuff that was between Tanglewood and Mountain Avenue that had blown over the winter into the woods. Individuals drive up the street and toss a bottle out, Smirnoff liquor. It's like every other Friday night, there's a gray bag with beer can and something like somebody's driving up the street. I'm going to stay up one night and I'm going to photograph it happening. It's just annoying the hell out of me that when I walk my dog, I pick it up. I take pride in my neighborhood. I pay a lot of taxes. It's appalling for me to see that stuff on the side of the road, and I pick it up.
I actually have the same problem over by me because I'm up by the Great Swamp. I think, and not to disparage one of our vendors, but I think it comes out of the garbage truck. Because they ride around with an open bin, and sometimes it's windy and whatnot, and I think that's where it's coming from. Because I do it twice a year up and down by the Great Swamp as well.
No, I agree with you, because somebody planted flowers, and all those little plastic containers, and they all blew across the street, and they were all stuck in the bushes
yeah.
all winter long and stuff like that. And I had to put gloves on and get them out and put them in the bag.
Because those guys drive around with the open bin in front. They dump it, they go to, and then when it's full, then they dump it. So I think from time to time, it comes out of there. I picked up a pizza box one time riding around my block because it was the day after recycling, and it was windy that day, you know? So I think that's where it comes from. Not necessarily people.
Not supposed to recycle pizza boxes, by the way.
You're not?
And, you know,
Nope.
Yes, you can.
If they're not food contaminated.
Right, but, all right. Most pizza boxes that we ever
I
have
throw,
had food.
I throw the paper out, then I recycle the box.
Well, all right, yeah, I guess.
Look, I'm inclined, I have no data to prove this, but I'm inclined to believe that when dog owners walking somebody on, an open area street, maybe sometimes they forget, maybe sometimes they don't see it. If you're in an enclosed area, intuitively, I believe it will be self-policed. I don't think if Bruce is walking there with his dog and it poops, somebody else sees that, is not going to say something. But we don't see everybody that's walking on Cottage or wherever.
It's a
And I'm not a dog owner, by the way. I think I'm the only one up here that doesn't own a dog.
It's a public shaming when you're in a contained dog park, right? So, but, clearly there's some more.
And frankly, dog owners are taxpayers too. Those of us that have children playing sports, we get that benefit, and that's fine. Those of us who have children in public school, we get that benefit. Somebody who owns a dog, I think it's not asking too much to have a little area for their dog to exercise. That's my feeling on this. So, with or without the grant, I support it. How about that?
Yeah, and the truth of the matter is, we live in a neighborhood, most homes don't have fences here. It's wide open. I mean, so you can have 3/4 of an acre, it doesn't really matter. And my dog is a border terrier, and even if you have an electric collar, he will run right through the electric collar. He needs to be completely fenced, and he needs to be exercised. And I take the dog, I sneak into the Basking Ridge one, or I go down to Union County, which I shouldn't be using because I'm not a Union County resident either, and I use it.
And that's a perfect example. I don't think that's right. This has been longer than 1 year. We've talked about this for years. And I think it's about time dog owners are people too.
And I think you can pay for itself. I think you could either sell signage, a card that allows you to get access to it. There are plenty of ways to do it. And I'm gonna continue to push for it. And, I'll do whatever you guys want me to do to help move it along. If it's raise money, get volunteers, whatever it is, I would like to see it done in my lifetime.
And actually, Jack, I can ask, I don't know where the money for the dog license actually goes. What is it used for?
Use it for animal control.
Yeah, it's only supposed to be used for animal control.
Right, and it doesn't cost what we're charging off of permits.
It did 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But the last time I was here, I thought the number was $19,000 in the account.
Oh, yeah.
In the account.
I think
In the
that-
account. Someone
Well, you know what,
verified
I'll check. I'll check what that number is. I don't know if Debbie, you know offhand. If not, I'll check.
I think it would be encouragement to get people to pay and license their dogs, and it becomes a place to socialize. You will definitely see that. And again, I will take anybody that wants to go to Union County facility, Echo Lake Park, or the Burnsville, Basking Ridge facility.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bruce.
And looking for a motion to adjourn. Right.
No, we're not adjourning because we're going back into
Oh,
executive.
Well, but we're not coming back out to take action, are we?
No.
So we'll be.
There's nothing
so-
we need
So
public
the motion is to
action
go back into exec and
Motion to
adjourn
go
at the
back to-
conclusion of
And
exec.
adjourn at the conclusion of exec.
Who motioned it?
So moved.
Who, I lost it.
Cornell said it.
No, I said it. You motioned. Can I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It started to sound like a Blazing Saddles routine. I'm sorry, you